genre.
Hello and welcome back to The Doctor's Companion presents Doctor Who, The Long Way Round, the weekly podcast where we review and discuss every episode of Doctor Who, one doctor at a time. I'm Nick Jimenez.
I'm Scott Corelli.
And I'm Cassandra Fredrickson.
And today on the show, we'll be discussing Dalek, the Ninth Doctor's fifth story. Scott, what do we know about it?
So Dalek was written by Robert Shearman and directed by Joe Ahern. This is the story that sort of reintroduced the Daleks into New Who, and this was something that the BBC actually wanted in the premiere. They wanted the Daleks to be in the premiere, and Russell T Davies smartly, I think, suggested that they put it in the middle of the season when people would start checking out inevitably, as sort of like a ratings bump of like, oh, you should tune back into Doctor Who because the Daleks are making their reappearance. So that's sort of like how that happened. This is a loose adaptation of Robert Shearman's Big Finish audio story called Jubilee, which was a Sixth Doctor story from 2003 that he wrote for Big Finish.
Is that what the Dalek named itself?
I forget why it's called Jubilee.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while. I can't remember exactly why it's called that. But it was basically the same story. A lone Dalek held captive on Earth, and then ends up, nonetheless managing to pose a grave threat. So anyway, so using Jubilee as a starting point, they sort of like changed some things. First of all, Russell T Davies said that he wanted to shift it from alternate universe Britain to 2012 Utah, and that he wanted the main villain of the story to be a character called Will Fences, which was going to be an allusion to Bill Gates.
Russell.
Yeah. So
oh my god.
Yeah. So then that ended up changing to Henry Van Staten because basically Robert Shearman thought that was stupid. So that's how we ended up with Henry Van Staten. He also wanted to introduce a new companion that would be sort of like a failed companion, essentially. And so that's how we got introduced to Adam Mitchell, who's sort of like the shortest companion, shortest length companion ever.
I had very mixed emotions about him throughout the story this time.
Yeah, I hate him. I think he's a bad character, but that's neither here nor there.
We'll get into it for sure.
Yeah, well, we'll probably get more into it in the next time with the long game, but he's not great here either. In any event, the other thing too that they ended up having some trouble with was that while Robert Shearman was writing the story, which he had titled Creature of Lies, which is a pretty cool title. Yeah. Pretty cool title. So he was writing Creature of Lies as the BBC was trying to get the rights to the Daleks from the Terry Nation family who owned the rights to the Daleks. And they weren't giving it up because they wanted full creative control over the use of Daleks in the episodes. They wanted final approval on all the scripts and everything.
Wow.
And the BBC was like, "That's hilarious. We're not using the Daleks. So you're gonna have to think of something else that you can use in this Creature of Lies episode." And so they ended up they were going to create an alternate monster to replace the Daleks, and Davies came up with the concept of a spherical creature that was sort of akin to a sadistic child.
Oh, hey.
That ended up being actually being a mutated version of humanity from the end of time, which of course would be a concept that he would return to a couple seasons later in the season 3 finale, I think.
Yes.
So that was what they were going to do. And then Shearman wrote a draft of this story that had that in it. And he dubbed the draft Absence of the Daleks, which was kind of funny. But yeah, so as it turned out, the nation's estate, the reason they were so upset with the BBC is that they felt that they were basically like permitting the use of Daleks in productions without their consent, and they were mad about it, specifically about the cameo appearance of the Daleks in the 2003 film Looney Tunes Back in Action.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
Really?
Apparently Daleks are in that movie.
I watched that a lot on HBO in 2003.
And they were did you know what Daleks were?
No, they went literally right over my head.
Yeah, so that's what they were really mad about, and then they worked that out, and where the Daleks were put back in, and apparently Robert Shearman he just didn't try very hard on the Absence of the Daleks script, and so when they said oh, you can put the Daleks back in, he was like, oh, okay, good, I already have that draft, here you go. And so just turned it in.
You sneaky little snoot.
Yeah,
that's funny.
So yeah, that's basically it. It was filmed in a production block with Father's Day, but interestingly, the long game was actually put into a different recording block. Ended up being part of the recording block, of course, with the finale.
Mm-hmm.
But that was later.
Which you would think for Billy Piper.
Yeah, well, you would think because you would think it would be those two would be together just because you have Adam and he's only in those 2 episodes. But yeah, not so. Interestingly enough,
it makes sense because they come back to that space station and they have all the sets and stuff.
Right. And well, that's how they ended up saving money, I think, because I don't think that was originally the plan. I think it was supposed to be totally different things. But they ended up having it be like a setup payoff thing to save money on the long game. But I'm sure we're going to talk about that when we get to the long game stuff next season. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the background for this one. Dalek, it's good. It's a good one. It's a good one.
It was the first Dalek I ever saw.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to talk about this one because this is the episode that made me interested in Doctor Who. The previous 5 episodes I was super lukewarm about, and then I was watching this one and I was just like, oh, there's actual stuff happening in this show that's been kind of silly so far. So
you can definitely tell that this episode is what Eccleston was wanting to do. As the Doctor, on this show, this is, I think, what he was hoping for his role to be, because you can just see that he's sinking his teeth into this story.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Much more so than other ones.
He was handling the lighter, fluffier moments with good humor and able body, but yeah, you really can see him activate in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So Dalek opens in 2012, and the far future of 2012. Rose makes a comment about I'd be 26 in 2012, and I'm just like, oh man, you're like in your 30s now. It's crazy.
And tearing up the West End, from what I hear.
Yeah, she already tore up Penny Dreadful. Man,
Mm-hmm.
God, she was good on that show.
Gonna be talking about that next week, guys.
Are we?
Don't think we've heard the last of Penny Dreadful on this podcast.
Okay. Oh, I guess that, yeah. All right, fair enough. Fair play. So the Henry Van Satten, or as I like to call him, not Jon Favreau.
Yeah.
He definitely looks like Jon Favreau.
He's got a Jon Favreau vibe.
Yeah.
So some very interesting American accents right out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Well, the actor who plays Henry Van Staten is actually American. He's the only one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can tell.
Everyone else is English, and there's one part where his female assistant,
Yes.
she says she tries to say helipad, but instead she says helipad.
Mm-hmm.
But she says it with an American accent, and it's just like, oh, that's what people think we sound like when we say omega instead of omega. Like, that's it. That's the
well,
problem.
even when she introduces,
oh man, I gotta get that chair out of the garage.
Garage, yeah.
when she introduces herself, she pronounces her name as Goddard instead of Goddard.
Right?
And I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh, that's interesting.
It's just those little Inglorious Bastard moments where we're like, wait a second, you're a spy.
And we get that great Cyberman head at the beginning in the museum, which is pretty cool. I love that because I can imagine, like, I when I was watching this the first time, like, I just remember just being like, oh, it's a Cyberman, that's cool. But like, not. I don't know. Like, it's so interesting to remember a time like before the Cybermen were on the show, on like New Who, and they were like, hey, look, it's that villain from a while ago. I don't know. Like, I love that. I think that's kind of cool. And he's like sort of looking at it like sort of wistfully, in a way. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Oh my god. I was going to make an Earthshock joke, but I don't want to spoil it for Nick.
Oh man.
I'm so excited.
Oh man, these things tried to kill the dinosaurs once. Tried? Well, they succeeded.
Sorry.
So, yeah. So this Dalek is getting tortured, which is pretty horrifying.
Oh yeah, man. Nicholas Briggs really diving into it.
Heck yeah. That showdown, that first showdown between the Dalek and the Ninth Doctor is
it's intense.
What a scene.
Yeah.
What a scene. Oh man. And the fact that he's like okay with killing this Dalek, it just sort of, I like it as, I mean, because obviously I think Davies knew to a certain extent that like, oh, there was a Dalek, or there was a Doctor who was in the war, but he didn't know that Moffat was going to like literally create an alternate, an 8.5 Doctor.
Right.
But you can definitely, it all clicks in continuity that like, oh, this is a guy who's still recovering from being the war doctor.
Yeah, and it's a real testament to, I think, in retrospect, the Eighth Doctor in general, and at least Moffat's handling of it, that it really doesn't, it really connects to the canon that was laid out before. I believe that a fan could watch this for the first time, having already known everything about the War Doctor and the Day of the Doctor, and being like, yeah, this checks out.
Totally.
Yeah, because I haven't seen this since we covered the 50th anniversary special, and everybody knows that I'm not a fan of the War Doctor, but I can see echoes of that in this episode. which is kind of cool. So maybe I will like it eventually whenever we get there in like 10 years.
It's kind of like how in Last Jedi, hearing Luke Skywalker say Darth Sidious was really cool, even though there's nothing cool associated with Darth Sidious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, I think we all. I mean, I think we all would have preferred 9 to have come back and played that part.
Yes.
In that story.
That's important to remember. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all would have preferred that, but it wasn't Moffat's fault that Eccleston didn't want to come back.
Right.
Yeah, and by God, what a way to solve a problem.
Right.
You know.
Because I don't know, I'm glad that it wasn't the Eighth Doctor playing that part, because you don't want to see the Eighth Doctor in that world.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
No, it's too pretty.
Right. I mean, he's too pretty. He's too like sort of romantic, and it just doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. Putting him in the middle of a war and making him a soldier doesn't really fit.
Yeah, and Moffat being the true Whovian that he is, I'm sure he thought about all of this and ultimately came to the realization, like, no, I think we need something else.
Yeah, if it can't be the Ninth Doctor, we have to have something else. And I think that's what that solution came from. But
Did somebody say something else?
I love seeing it here, though.
Mm-hmm.
Those, you know, the sort of start of that, ironically, because it, you know, takes place after. But yeah,
and I do remember sitting in my room watching this and being like so swept up in the mythology of the Time War and the last Time War and all the Daleks being dead and all the Time Lords being dead, and just being like, what the heck is this? This sounds metal.
Yeah.
And Eccleston and Nicholas Briggs just sell every word, and if you really hear the misery and horror and everything they talk about.
My favorite thing about this story is how many like scary undoctory things that the Doctor says in this story. Like my favorite thing that he says in this is, "You want orders? Kill yourself."
Yeah, I
was just like, because it makes me laugh every time, and it's just because it's just like, oh my God, like it's just so horrifying. I can't do anything but laugh. Like that's all I can do.
And it's so interesting because you have to wonder if this was a product of Eccleston not really having a romantic attachment to the character, or this being something new for so many people. That he is. I don't think we'll ever see again the Doctor be this gleefully mean and wanting to hurt another thing so bad as like in that room with that Dalek the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was one of my notes too, because like I don't know, I hadn't seen this in a while, so hearing the Doctor say "kill yourself" is just like it's still rattling me. I'm just like, oh my God, this is horrifying.
Yeah,
because it's so earnest. Like he 100% means it in that moment. Like, I want you to die.
Look, I really think this is the only thing that you can do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting too, because I think that, you know, like ultimately I like part of me just feels like maybe, you know, as much as I would have loved to see the Ninth Doctor in that story in Day of the Doctor.
Sure.
I kind of wonder if like, maybe the Ninth Doctor really does work best as PTSD Doctor.
Recovery Doctor.
Yeah, Recovery Doctor. Like, literally on the other side of war, he becomes a different person, but he's still sort of like haunted by that previous incarnation.
Mm-hmm.
And so lines like that, you can tell they come partially from a place of anger, but they also come from a place of pain.
Yeah.
Mostly.
And fear.
And I think that comes from PTSD, and it makes more sense to me that it's an incarnation out of the war, just out of the war, than the incarnation that was part of it.
Because, you know, where the John Hurt's War Doctor, there was a kind of cold logic to a lot of his actions, at least in the context of the war, you know. But yeah, no, I don't think I've ever seen the Doctor more afraid of those opening moments where you get that great silhouette of the Dalek when the light turns on and he's just like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
Like, because like who knows when the last time he saw one of those things besides his like dreams.
And I love that line of where the Dalek tells the Doctor that he would make a good Dalek.
Oh, it's a classic.
Yeah.
No, I to me, for my money, I don't think this is the episode for me that elevates the Doctor and the Dalek to like Batman Joker level, Sherlock Holmes Moriarty level, because you really see these two victims as much as anything of a war. Just really, they hate each other so much, but then also they realize that maybe no other living thing in the universe understands me like this person does.
Yeah.
Billy Piper does some really cool stuff in this. I like Rose in this episode.
Yeah, sad manipulative Dalek is really good. Nicholas Briggs bringing the tears, but then also like he's being manipulative. He just wants her to touch him so that he can heal. Yeah, touch me.
So sad. He's got a big drill hole in him.
Touch me.
I like this episode too because it showcases that Rose is the best companion for 9. Like she brings out like he's like one step away from going off the deep end, and she's just like, "What are you doing right now?" Like, I'm not afraid of this thing. I'm more afraid of you because you're the one pointing a gun at me right now. Like,
like her newness to this is sort of able to level the playing field because she sees this as not a war criminal, but like, oh my God, this pathetic, fat, stupid robot is like crying in misery, and I need to help it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I saw that thing free of context just in my closet or like in a basement, like, babe, like, oh my God. Someone took this adorable children's show creation and locked it in a basement. I'm bred for hate.
The Doctor getting tortured, shirtlessly tortured, was just like it was just suddenly we were taking a page out of Vengeance on Varos.
Yeah,
it's a little weird,
and seemingly out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess he wanted to be like, okay, how human is this guy?
Yeah. But also, like, the X-ray apparently hurts. Like, why make an X-ray that hurts? Why would you do that?
Yeah, it's almost a little like Shatnery.
Yeah. I do like the sort of retcon of the sucker, the plunger, like finding a use for that plunger. Like, one, it like crushes that guy's head, which is horrifying.
I love the line that precedes that though. It's like, "What you gonna do? Sucker me to death?" And it's like, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Finally.
But then, like, it can also like use the plunger to put in like complicated codes into the keypad. I just really loved that it was like they'll be able to do it in like a billion things in a second, a billion combinations in a second. And then he just like rolls over to the keypad, puts his plunger on top of it, and just like his plunger is just like sort of like moving over the keys. And I'm just like, I don't think what you said is an accurate thing, Doctor. I don't. I mean, they're fast. Don't get me wrong, but like they're still using plunger fingers.
Yeah, what's the line? It's like 1,000 billion. It's just so like it sounds like a kid is just making up numbers.
Yeah, so hyperbolic.
It's a real sign of things to come in future eras of the show.
True. I think the thing that I'm most upset with this Dalek episode is that I don't think Robert Shearman never comes back, does he?
No, he doesn't. Which is a crime.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Completely ridiculous. He needs to write another episode of Doctor Who.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Does he still do Big Finish stuff, or is he just working on like fiction and stuff?
I think he's just like writing prose, yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah, it really is. It's a bummer. But hey, we've got a handful of Big Finish audios of his to look forward to, I guess. But
we love Big Finish.
Yeah. But that's it. The next time we do Eighth Doctor will be one of his.
Oh yeah, that is his. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Chimes of Midnight.
Yeah.
That's Robert Shearman. But yeah, he definitely needs to come back. I guess the last thing he did was in 2016, which was like a short fiction thing, or something like that. Some kind of short Doctor Who short story. But I
like his take on Doctor Who. It's like weird and kind of dark, kind of like in the Neil Gaiman sense of dark. Like it's like whimsical, but also like raw. And
yeah,
I like his take on
whimsical and raw.
Yeah, no, I love this, and I love the idea of, you want to make these fat stupid robots scary, despite the fact that they're fat stupid robots,
and I think it works in this.
Yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. Is like the way that you make it scary is. You make one Dalek scary. If you can make one Dalek scary, like if you can show why one Dalek is scary, then when you get to the end of this season and a ship opens up and thousands pour out, you suddenly understand what the stakes of that are.
Yeah, it really is kind of the Alien or Predator effect, where you again that kind of more is cooler and look at all this epic stuff happening. But yeah, you can lose the weight so easily.
Yeah,
and then become hilarious again, which I'm also not against. It's a win-win situation for me with these guys.
It is. It's really moving when the Dalek just like wants to feel the sun.
Yeah, like and even and like God, it has layers of sadness, like a Dalek.
Yeah. The Dalek in this one in particular, because he's got like the little cobweb in the back and everything. It reminds me of I forget what the king's name is in Super Mario Brothers, but like the fungus king.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of.
Oh, that movie.
Yeah. That movie, you know what? If you take out Mario and Luigi Mario and you replace it with the Doctor and a companion, that's a great Doctor Who episode.
Oh my God.
Like legit.
Holy crap.
Am I wrong?
No.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway. There it is.
So is Mario the Doctor or is Mario the companion?
I think Mario has to be the Doctor, right? just for respect reasons. Plus, Bob Hoskins is British, so there you go.
Mm-hmm.
John Leguizamo as a Doctor. My God. I think that's what the Eighth Doctor TV movie was missing. John Leguizamo.
Yeah, just as like a streetwise beat cop.
My God. Oh man. It's good. It's good.
It's good. If you haven't watched it in a while, or if you've never seen it at all, it's a real classic.
Mm-hmm.
Dalek.
Yeah,
not the
Honor
Mario
the
movie.
Man.
Yeah, I just wanted to
film.
clarify you were not talking about the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Which is fun to watch when you're 8 in the 90s.
Monkey.
Yep. I used to watch that movie and be like, God, I've never wanted to be in a world less.
Yeah.
Like the opposite of Star Wars or Hogwarts.
Yeah. The Super Mario Brothers movie, the opposite of Hogwarts.
Critics are calling it the opposite of Hogwarts.
fans are saying, "What's a Hogwarts?"
Right.
Anyway,
They're all the 4 house founders are like, maybe we should we're definitely calling it Hogwarts, right? Without question, 100% Hogwarts.
yeah. Also, I am, going back to the story, I am a little disappointed that we've never come back around to the major revelation that Dalek bumps are a self-destruct mechanism.
Yeah, what the crap?
That's like their cyanide pill, right? Like,
Yeah.
I always thought they were like acoustics or something.
aesthetic.
Yeah, it's just aesthetic. We like them.
Yeah, I loved that retcon. That was pretty cool. But it's
Good for falling.
It's so crazy that we've never ever seen that happen again, like since then.
Hey, bucket list.
Yeah,
Just exploding
They're
Daleks.
Yeah.
yeah. Kamikaze Daleks.
Require them in.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh man.
Oh man. I'll exterminate you with me.
Oh
I'm
god.
taking you with me.
Maybe it's
God, that
maybe
would've
that's for the best. Maybe we shouldn't bring it back.
The doctor's like fighting like the scene of Captain America.
Yeah, that's more something I would want to see if we ever saw more scenes from the Time War.
It's
Then it would be
nozzles.
okay.
Its nozzle starts to like bubble with like foam,
Oh my god.
Oh, no,
like a cyanide capsule.
no. So it did
like
end
a
up
Cold
following
War.
orders.
It did,
Yeah,
like a good Dalek.
like a good Dalek. I think I know that there is there a story called The Good Dalek? Is that a thing? Am I remembering that right?
No.
This episode should be called A Good Dalek.
I feel like Into the Dalek is just ripping this off wholesale and doing it poorly.
Yeah.
I am not I am not a good Dalek. You are a good Dalek.
Yeah.
I really think that this episode would. I think that's the only thing I would change is because I don't like the title Dalek.
There was a comic book story called "The Only Good Dalek."
I think I've read that. I'm pretty sure.
It's an 11 and Amy joint.
Yeah. But I think calling this a good Dalek would have been good because you would have seen this Dalek being tortured and stuff, and it's like, oh, like it's a good Dalek, and then you find out like, oh no, it's actually about
The Doctor.
the Doctor.
Yeah.
That would have been cool. Anyway,
And there's that
Dalek
there's
is
that
just.
moment-
I just think Dalek is a little generic of a title.
Yeah, and there's that moment. There's a really great part in the end where Nine has to tell Rose, like, no, like this is actually a good thing for this. That's what I'm telling you, is that these things suck.
Right. Right.
He's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
Right. Speaking of things that suck, Adam Mitchell is the worst.
Oh, right, yeah.
And that
Yeah.
scene where they're like flirting with each other, it was just making me cringe.
Oh,
like,
is that
full
what they
body
were doing?
cringe. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It just kind of reminds me of when they're really trying to force in the new guy,
Yeah.
where it's like, no, like don't tell me that we all like Scott Eastwood in Furious 7. Like make me like Scott Eastwood ever once.
He's always the guy that they're trying to make us like.
This guy's let's dunk on him. That'll make us like him.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to. Scott Eastwood ever listens to this, I don't want to start beef.
We get a 1-star review from Scott Eastwood.
Dear jerks.
I'll have you know. I work very hard.
I'm sure he
Some
does. He's in
people
great
call
shape.
me genuinely charismatic.
I am on many short lists.
My father loves me.
Oh, man. But yeah, so he sucks. It's always he makes every scene a little awkward.
Yeah. Adam sucks. And I really don't like it's interesting that like all of our new Who stories, it really, doing this show this way really goes to show you the repetitive structure of new Who.
Right. Yeah.
In seasons, because like every story that we talk about involves like a new companion.
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
Like,
wow.
Having
Holy
just joined the TARDIS or asking to join the TARDIS.
Oh, no. I have a lot to say about that going into the next 2 episodes.
Yeah. It's just really interesting. 5th story of every season. Yeah. Isn't that weird?
That is
it's weird, right?
Does that hold true with
that...
Capaldi, too? Because does What's-His-Face join up with them in episode 5?
Oh, Danny. I think he does. I think Danny does.
Holy crap. Awesome.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Structure.
Yes, yeah. Wow. I'm almost ready to watch all those again.
Soon.
Yeah.
Soon. I want to wait until I want to at least wait until the first season of 13 is over.
Chibs.
Yeah. And then
Chibs
then when we come back to it, we'll start up on 12 again.
Mm-hmm.
That cuz you want at least a little bit of space with the new Doctor, just to sort of like have a comparison of like where this led to, and yeah. So, anyway. All right. I think that's all I got for this one. You guys have anything else?
No, I'm good. Well said.
Love it.
It's a great story.
It's better than last week.
Really. Sure was.
We don't even know what that is yet.
Terrible American accents included.
Yeah. Yeah, the American accents didn't get any better, but that's all right. They got a little better, I guess. There's the one guy, the one soldier guy, who is like telling the Doctor that he's got like, I'm a soldier. Don't tell me how to kill a fat, stupid robot. That guy had the worst American accent, I think, in the whole thing. But everyone else was mostly fine. Anyway, bad American accents, man. The hard R, it's a tough one, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You guys ever see From Paris with Love?
No.
It's great. Jonathan Rhys-Meyers has a really good American accent in that.
Oh, nice.
Sounds like an android from the 50s.
Awesome.
I'm gonna stop dunking on actors today.
It's okay. Isn't that a Woody Allen movie? You can dunk on it.
No, it's a John Travolta like action movie. You're thinking of To Rome with Love.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm thinking there's too many movies called To a Place with Love.
Definitely. Also, Once Upon a Time in blank. We can probably put the kibosh on that for a minute.
I agree with that. All of those titles are all made by cinematically beloved filmmakers,
right?
Who
the same kind of
all of which I can't stand and have never been able to stand. It's weird. Yeah. Anyway, interesting. Okay. Well, that's Dalek. We'll be back.
Uh-oh.
What?
Oh, never mind. There's like a big loud fire truck, but I guess you can hear it. Okay, sorry.
All right, well, we'll be back next time with the 10th Doctor and the Girl in the Fireplace.